Helo, agus fáilte go trí seascad den program ag BBC Alba a bhí sa córacha na boranich ingintach an is sùil spórs na Alba. Is me Iona Ballantyne agus sa mí táilte ra go bhfuil sean clicad ar na Alba, Julie Fleetain ar Ashcall Rooms in studio. A program trang éile ac an gaibh noch. Gaibh si bhín laoch as uair bhó Julie agus fér sin sùil ar na gheamachan ag Alba. Brúdi sin rí se coidse badminton Rajani Tyagi, ag le coidse choimhearsnachd na bliadhna ag dúisin spórs na Alba. Agus Cluinnidh sin bhain chlicad ar ball-coise Stacey McCallum a threp Mount Kilimanjaro bhach Àrd-Ruigh. Julie, welcome back to 360.
Thank you for having me back.
It's great to have you on again, and actually can you just start off by telling us what you've been up to in the world of sport?
Yeah, I mean just the last few months or so, been involved in kind of being a pundit in the men's game and women's football as well. I've been fortunate enough to kind of be on their highlight show as well, keeping up to date with that, and yeah, still helping at grassroots level with my own children, my own girls and their football teams. So it's certainly keeping me busy and keeping my hand in football as well.
I was actually just going to ask you, you have been involved a lot, especially in the past few seasons with the SWPL. How are you finding things are going?
Yeah, I feel like I enjoy watching the games more and more every season that goes on. I feel like it becomes more competitive. You can see the teams becoming more professional. And yeah, I think it's certainly, you can see the difference in the games and the quality on the pitch every week. So it's been nice that I've had the opportunity to kind of continue to watch that and at times be on the TV and the highlight show as well, which is fantastic to see now that the women's game are getting that kind of recognition, and people get the opportunity now to watch the games on TV.
It is brilliant, and people who'd be watched it who might not have seen it otherwise. I know you've also been involved in the highlights programmes for Scotland too, when Scotland women have been playing. They are just out of camp, where they played 2 friendly games. One of them was an under-23 and one of them was an A-squad game too. How important was it for Scotland to get back out there, get back playing games and kind of kick on from that disappointment of missing out on the World Cup?
Yeah, I think of course it was a massive, massive disappointment for nobody more so than the players themselves and the coaching staff. I think we all felt it as fans as well. We were desperate to see them on that big stage again. But the players would have been hurting, and to get the chance to then get back together again as a squad, they're a tight group, and they would have wanted to get back on the pitch again and try and put that behind them, and more so look to the future and see how they can improve as a squad and as a team. Players that they can possibly bring in, some that maybe won't be back. So yeah, I think it'll have given them a chance to regroup and get together and set their targets and their aims for what's to come in the future.
And interesting to see an under-23 squad for the first time since 2008. Even though there were older players who were eligible to play in, it was still quite a younger squad, which was, for you, how important is it to see that as we kind of move through the years especially? I
think, as you say, it wasn't entirely an under-23 squad, but what it probably was more of a development team, a team who maybe lacked experience of playing international football, so it would give them the opportunity to play international football without the full pressure of it being a competitive fixture. And I think you had a sprinkle of players who have been a part of the Scotland setup for quite a while, and it gave those others just a taste of playing alongside maybe different players that they'll need to, if they want to make that jump, then they'll need to get used to playing with. And it would have given the coaching staff an idea of who is good enough to perform at this level. Is there someone who can come in and take the place of the players who played in the last campaign? And it would have given them an awful lot to kind of think about, and if you'd done well, then you've put your name in the hat to be in the next squad.
And they did have 2 good wins, 2-0 against Panama for the under-23s and 2-1 against Venezuela just a couple of days later. Brogan Hay and Rebecca McAllister, 2 players that you do see in the SWPL. I mean, for you, 2 deserved caps for them? Yeah,
absolutely. These are players who week in, week out produce for their clubs. And I think that's what you've got to do first and foremost. If you want to be in the national setup, then you have to be playing well for your club team. That's how you'll get recognised. For Brogan Hay, she's a player that we talk about in the highlight show consistently. She stands out. Now, Rangers at the moment are the top. one of, or if not the best team in the league at the moment, and she's a player that stands out within that team. So she more than merits her place within the national team.
An overdue cap, perhaps?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, but I think what's been difficult is there are other players in her position who maybe have that bit more experience of playing at that level, but there's no harm in putting her in the squad and seeing how she reacts to the training, and she's not only done well in the training, I'm sure, but also in the game itself. So she's a player that she's got an awful lot of determination. She's doing it on the pitch for Rangers, and I think she's a player we'll see quite a bit of in the next campaign.
And another couple of players just even involved, like Amy Muir, Leah Eddy, again, two players in the SWPL who rightly so are with that Scotland squad. Yeah,
they're players who have been in and around the squads before. They're players who have maybe been on the fringe. And again, you're looking for these youth players to come in. We might see players retire. It is definitely a squad who have been together for a good number of years, and what you need then is quality players to come in and take their place. We talk about the lack of experience in some of these players, but the only way they're going to get experience is if they're thrown into the national side and if they're given caps, and the fixtures that they've just experienced are the games when you need to see them playing. So there is a few players that we can hopefully see as the future of the Scottish national side, and hopefully they continue to develop.
Hopefully they do. Thank you very much. Wel, Rajani Tyagi fi gopar gwsir holoch mar coach badminton son siach bliadhna. Sy'n ŵn sin Airdrie cyn hi hen war han spors bornich fo gach sugig a haring colle. Hel sin je in gen a session en training eichke gusbarach eine mach.
Nuair a bhuais Rajani Tyagi go Alba fiche bliana rais, bhuaichi nach ar mórin chorman áni cumar ora Cluinnidh badminton go gleisachal. Mar sin chuirí roichbe vid gna dheanú me dhéin.
Wanted to continue with my sport and was looking for clubs where I could feel comfortable and play without being pushed around the court and without being judged for my games. So came across SEMSA. But again, they had mixed ability and mixed, gender clubs. So, but had the problem of, not playing up to the mark with the partner and not having time to go all the time and improve my games and all. So yeah, there was a huge gap where women like me who wanted to play the game or the sport but could not go because they were either judged or they didn't have the time or the time of the club didn't suit them. So yeah, then I guess I just felt, this is not working. I need to do something about it. So I think that's how this club started as well, because it was catering to people who were shy to come out, and that barrier was taken away by few physical things, in the sense we had only women playing in the club. Initially, actually, we in Holyrood Glasgow Club, we could actually put curtains to separate the area from men playing sports there as well. So that made it very comfortable. Then a female coach, made it even more accessible and sort of, talking the same language and coming from sort of same background, understanding the problems. So those things definitely helped.
Va féimig Rajani chestness and coaching line gus an budding ye clubbe a Ruigh Ceart van Hoiseach.
This was a kind of a, what should I say, legal requirement. If you want to run a club on by yourself, then you have to have some basic qualifications. So that's how it all started. So did the 3-level qualifications which are needed for me to be an independent coach. And then started the clubs. It was such a great feeling because, first of all, that's some initiative you took and people are responding to it, and of course, you're able to do what you set your journey to be. So it was a good feeling.
Rajani Tyagi ar bhí coach agus an 6 bliana, agus a coimhearsnachd fás mo cúrs na session an aiche, leis na builaiche a caineach far na cúrs cuideachd.
Someone the other day just said to me, Rajani, you've made my weekend start on a good note, because it was a Saturday morning class. So, and thank you for that. And then coaching also, some coaching, they appreciate that.
The good thing is they do have a mix of different difficulty levels here as well. But then we've got Rajani here as the coach, and she can pair people up according to how well they can play with each other, and so we managed to get pretty good games here because it is supervised.
While we're playing, she will just tell us, this is what you're doing, this is what you shouldn't be doing, this is what you can do. So the tips are really, really helpful. From when we started to now, I feel like there's a
world of a difference. Yeah, absolutely.
One of the girls gave me a very long note on a WhatsApp personal note saying that according to her, this sort of activity has been so important in getting people together, communities together, cultures together, and that has improved people's lives as well.
I mean, we are from Pakistan and a few Indians and there are Scottish people as well, and it is a good social aspect as well. The socializing with everyone and everyone getting on with each other, and just the games and the buzz of it all.
I can assess because you see them outside the club, they're making friends, they're going out together, and of course then they get people back into the club, which just tells you that it's a good thing that's happening.
Friendship is friendship, but when they come against each other, they're all competitive. They all want to win. Nobody wants to lose here. So that's a thing, which is good. I think competitive is very good.
Yeah. So we go to 2 badminton groups, but this is the one that we look forward to. I hope the Monday ones don't watch this.
Cut.
Chai opar Àrd-Ruigh Rajani Tyagi go chi'n Gharage, nuair a bhuainnig í coach a club a coimhearsnachd na bliana ag cuireadh spás Alba nach an Airdrie.
Oh, that was an amazing feeling. I mean, it was absolutely superb because, I was doing something which I just wanted to do, and it was volunteering. It wasn't something I was trained. I was coached, but it wasn't, your day job where you're putting in all the effort to get higher up the ladder. This was something you were just doing because you just love doing it. And yeah, when I got the award, it was like winning a gold medal in the Commonwealth Games, It was just absolutely amazing feeling. Yeah.
Chanéan dúis is carach go bhfuil Rajani a coachil, a cha an náchas gon cuideach an dúis éige boranich is chanéan a bhrosnachil, a gáil amach agus creitin an de héin an ritsin bí an níad.
Maybe I wasn't looking for it, as you said, but now it tells other women and girls who are growing up to realize that it's not wasted. It is something, if you put your heart and soul into it, you will get a reward. And this is obviously something absolutely over the top, but yeah, to be recognized by the club people or by the community is something small and very, very rewarding for someone doing a job like that. So it was, I'm still, when I think that it's the national sports governing body is recognized your efforts, it's just huge.
Ha dáchas an móric Rajani san na chlabaichas an tamlaí teach. Aois brúbhealóa a thula spás go mis gan tlúi chuideachú, gus fast as a bliana chin hín.
I would obviously continue. This is, I love doing it, so there's no stopping there, but definitely some help to get maybe more coaches trained up, female coaches trained up, so that we can open up more clubs and more parts of the city, and hope to be a part of hope to sit around the decision table, you know. It will be quite important and yeah, I mean, you know, if I'm doing the grassroots level work, I know what's needed, what will help. So yeah, it will be nice to be a part of, you know, what should I say? You know, where decisions are made, basically. Yeah, to be a part of all that.
Julie, what an amazing story from Rajani. She does so much for the community, doesn't she?
She does. You know, there's not enough people like Rajani in this country, and I think if there was, then we could see our country being in a better position in terms of physical health, but also mental health as well. We heard from a number of the women who benefit from the fact that she gives up so much time to this club and the difference that it makes in their lives. And for me, you just wish there was more people who were willing to give up their time and help the local community.
You are one of those people who do give up your time to help the local community. What does it take to be a coach? It's not as easy as it looks at all.
For me, it's slightly different because I give up my time as a mum to try and make sure that there's a club that my own kids can go to, and along with that, because football is a team sport, along with that you cater for many other girls as well. So slightly different in that I'm trying to get my own kids active, but here in this VT you see that it's multicultural, and the difference that will make within the local communities and the barriers that they'll be breaking down at this club. It's a huge inspiration. For me, it's about the younger girls and trying to make sure that there's the option of playing football, and there's a pathway all the way through from you're 3 years old at our club all the way through. At the moment we're only really started a year, so we only have up to kind of age 14 at the moment, but hopefully as you see these kids grow up, we'll be able to grow with them and hopefully expand the club, because for me women's football had such a huge impact in my life, and I was able to benefit from the people who gave up their time to help me and offer me a club to go and play, and for my own kids and my nieces and my nephews as well. You want to see them getting the same types of opportunities.
And want to give back everything that kind of you learn. And that's the thing which is similar to you with the coaching and from Rajani too, is that she saw a gap and did everything she could to kind of fill that gap, and then it's taken off and now she's winning awards for it. It's so lovely to see.
I mean, for me it was team sports that I loved, but equally you can see badminton as a sport. I know myself as a PE teacher, you need to try and cater for all types of people, and I've got many pupils at the school who don't like the kind of physical contact of sports like football and basketball and hockey. So many of them enjoy playing badminton, and I'm sure there's a gap in many communities in that if they enjoy it at school, is there a club that they can go to? Is there something that's going to be affordable for them? Because sometimes to hire a badminton court, if there's only 2 people, it can be quite pricey for children. But if you've got a club that you can go to and you're part of a wider group of people, then that can really benefit them. And for me, it was the fact that they weren't just going to be healthy and participate in sport, but they were going to make friends, and they were going to then continue their friendship away from there. They've got people that they can speak to, they've got people who have that interest in badminton, but they also might have similar interests outside of there as well. And also, if you've just moved to a local community, it's an idea then to go along and meet new people, and they really looked like they had a real closeness, a real nice bond about their group. And it was really heartwarming to watch. It
was, and even like Rajani mentioned, with the message that she received about just how much it meant to one of the girls that attended, that all, I can imagine, makes it all worthwhile, having that appreciation.
Yeah, she'll have been doing it initially out of a love of playing badminton, and probably hasn't realised how many people's lives that she's making a difference in. And so great to see her getting rewarded in all of her hard work. Getting recognised by Sport Scotland.
And tell us just quickly, I know it's actually difficult to condense, but what is required to be a coach like that Because even when you're coming in tonight, you're dealing with everything to do with it.
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, you have to make sure that you've got the right qualifications. For me, being in children's sport, it's being able to get your child well-being, make sure you've got Disclosure Scotland for not only you but for all of your coaches, all of the people who are going to be in contact with the kids. So you make sure you tick all the boxes. They talked about rules in the VT, and make sure that you're part of a kind of wider governing body who can also support you as well. But it's also all of the things off the pitch. Like, I don't mind doing all the coaching, but the things that go along with it can be really difficult, because you're looking at organising, you're looking at maybe the money side of it, you're looking at fundraising, you want to make sure that your group have the right equipment, they have the right clothing, so it's not easy. And I think when you can try, and I don't know how much support they have there, but if you try and build up a group of people that are going to help you. For me, I'm just a small part of our club. There are so many other people, particularly my own brother, who takes on a lot more than most people. But I think, yeah, the more people you can get to try and help and join in with the club, the more enjoyable it will be, but the easier it is on everyone else.
And hearing that, Julie, just shows how much is involved, and I think that's why all credit to Rajani too. It was wonderful to see. Wel, gyda tè-ghlèidhidh Àrd-Ruigh, Stacey McCallum, ríirigte le bhí cúmla amach na tыл son a club éige. Bhai fémach dúlan éile, agus Iona Ballantyne féchan Mount Kilimanjaro hrep. Bhrain sin rí Stacey son fáin amach mar a hrepi chun a bhuaigh.
Páisich neachlí Stacey McCallum a Cluinnidh ball-coise who luas a burin í coiseach. Aois han spores even a páiste bheith van Noorsin.
When I was younger, I'm 31, so back in the day there wasn't a lot for girls or women's football back then. So my first team, it was actually a boys team I started with, and then there was a girls team introduced maybe 2 seasons further down the line, and then at that point it was starting to grow and I could see it going places. And my parents, my family, they were really eager to keep pushing it, because I stay in a wee village in South Lanarkshire, and there wasn't a lot of girls that played football at that time, so they pushed it. Yeah, just played with maybe 5 or 6 different teams throughout the years.
Ha ball-coise even a chesfach na bheith Stacey. Aois ha tors jow tèhghléidhidh vo bheith lael.
When you're on the pitch, and I know it might sound cheesy, but all your worries and your stresses, like the world and your job and your life and stuff, it just all disappears. Like when I come to training, I just purely focus on football, and everything else is just totally shut out. Same on a Sunday as well, you get the buzz pre-match and stuff, and it just does, like, you get ready to go back to work on a Monday, and just being out on a Sunday, it's just, it does something. It's hard to put into words, but you're like, it's its own wee world, and it just lets you forget about everything. And you obviously see your pals and play a sport that you love, and it's great.
Chanelli ddíireach tolagil bhí buanach ó gach seachcain. In blianasa, Ryan Stacey a hínshin suas rud gan Jeffrey J. Hianu, agus coiseach suas a bhain a smós an től, Kilimanjaro.
I grew up with the film The Lion King. I was always fascinated with Africa, Kilimanjaro. And growing up, it was always top of my list. It was always a goal and a dream of mine in life. And then, unfortunately, lost both my mum and dad. I lost my dad 5 years ago, and my mum the following year. And then, obviously, COVID struck. Obviously, everybody was a bit lonely. It was just a really horrible time for a lot of people. And then I started thinking, and I was like, right, I can't play football now, so what have we got to do? So I converted my gym, my garage into a gym, and then I loved climbing when I was younger, and I thought, you know what, when the lockdown eased a wee bit and you were able to get out and about more, I thought I'm going to start bagging some Monroes. So I kind of went along with it, and then I thought, you know, I'm going to start looking at this Kilimanjaro thing again, and I was like, how can a wee girl like myself, a wee small village, like make this goal happen? So I'd done a bit of research through COVID. Obviously we had loads of spare time, and came across a company based in England, the Bucket Listers company, and they do trips all over the world, and Kilimanjaro was one of them. And I thought, do you know what, I had a wee bit of money, and I thought, do you know what I'd been through in life, I was like, life is too short, you need to do the things that you enjoy. So I booked Kilimanjaro. Lockdown inspired me, and I'd always said I would do it in memory of my mum and dad, so that was always the focus, and that was always at the forefront of my head. And I've got a really good friend that is registered blind. He's been a member of the blind community for the past 25 years. And he's on his 4th guide dog, so I decided, right, I'm going to give a bit back and I'm going to raise money for guide dogs. So I'm actually about £400 off raising £8,000.
A sé a hopper Cruig agus tréine go léireachge, gan check some meam gon Rigi hi mulach.
I put in a lot of training. I put like my life on hold for 7 months, January till the end of July this year, and I'd put so much pressure on myself because I'm one of these people that I'm very competitive, and if I set my mind to do something, I will do it. So I was like, if I need to crawl to the top of this mountain, I will crawl. And it was incredible. So it took us 4.5, 5 days to get to the actual summit, and then it was another 2 days back down. But the beauty of it, it's like, because it's so high, you go through, like you start in the rainforest, so you get to see the rainforest, you then move into like moorland. So we went through that, and then you arrive in the Alpine desert, which is just like pure red sand, and then you get to the Arctic zone where it's absolutely freezing and you can hardly breathe.
Sé jóla sorich of Alnia Stacey, agus had deich riava.
Yeah, it absolutely was. And I'd actually carried a wee bit of my mum and dad's ashes up to the top with me as well, so they literally went every step of the way, and they did. They kept me pushing. There wasn't any moments that I thought I'm not going to do this, I can't do this, but there was times that I had to dig very, very deep. Like on summit night, we left camp at 11 o'clock that night, and we didn't actually reach Àrd-Ruigh peak till 8:30 in the morning, and then we were literally up there for 10-15 minutes, and then we get back to base camp at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so it was a slog. But yeah, reaching the top, it was such a It was a strange feeling, because it was like all the years of planning, like I had achieved one of my massive goals, dreams in life, and the reasons I was doing it and stuff. It was just, it was definitely healing. Like even standing here now, like 11-12 weeks, it still doesn't feel fully real that I was up there. Like I was standing in the highest freestanding mountain in the world. It's still a bit surreal. Like, and as I say, because I'd put so much effort in and had put my life on hold and all the training and stuff I'd done, I was like, man, that's it. You know what I mean? And it was a bit of like, then I started to get the come down a wee bit as well.
Nuair a Healy war tearlach ball-coise fihu a dóid glant Stacey Angeráis in the pushed, gus an cuideachd puchtach suas a Àrd.
That's kept me going. That's brought my feet back down onto the ground. So it's been great. The girls, they threw a wee surprise party and stuff for me as well. I came back from Africa on the Monday night and made a wee party on the Friday night, which was really good as well. So that was a nice wee surprise. But that's what Airdrie is. We're more than a football team. It's like football family. Like we're all there for each other, and they're a great bunch.
Tá slí a Cluinnidh ag club coimhearsnachd Àrd-Ruigh go skipping an ban. A ha Stacey an nachas a chuideachd iad sa season Harry Heen, go skip a chruachug a vís cumasach at Àrd-Ruigh.
At one point we had 11 players. Like we just did not. I mean, now we've got a squad of 19-20, which is brilliant. Like credit to Laura and Jim and like the rest of the committee and stuff that have done the recruiting, and we've got the players and stuff in. Yep, I think we get a good squad together, we keep working hard, we win as many as the rest of the games as we can, see where we can finish, just keep pushing, aim high, keep pushing as hard as we can, and then hopefully like make an even bigger and better push next season.
Julie, what another incredible story. Stacey is so inspiring, isn't she?
Oh, she is. She speaks so well, but to actually listen to her story, it's a really tough one not to get emotional, because what she's been through for such a young person, and to be so driven and focused on what she wanted to achieve in life, she's a real inspiration for so many, and hopefully our story gets out there and inspires even more people.
There's so much to take from it and so much to talk about. If we start with even the football aspect of it first, she is so passionate about the game. I mean, can you resonate with what she was saying? Yeah, even her story at the start about how she got into football and that there wasn't many female players her age. She played in a boys' team. Yeah, that's how my story began as well. I'm quite sure it's the same for many girls. She's a good bit younger than me, but it is how it started for so many female players, and the fact that she loved football, she was passionate, she played for a number of clubs, she knew that she wanted to continue this because what she gets from football is way more than just a hobby. It's a family, it's that group of friends, it's people you can rely on, and people I'm sure who have been there for her through her darkest times. I was going to say, it probably helped her through that, losing both your parents. I'm sure that because your teammates are often your best friends, and when you have the tragedy in which Stacey has had in her life, then I'm quite sure it has been those football friends that have really helped her get through it, and for her then to go on and achieve so much when she's still such a young person is just absolutely fantastic. And what about what she was saying when she's on the pitch, when she's in a game, she forgets everything else? You can relate to that, can't you? I can. I remember it myself. I remember being on the pitch and nothing else mattered in those moments but working as hard as you can for your team and yourself and to try and get the right result. And I do remember just being so focused on the game itself that when the final whistle went, I remember my mind then being able to go elsewhere with what's been going on outside of football, what am I doing later, all of those types of things. But actually for those 90 minutes, just being so focused on the game itself, and that was one of the things that I was kind of nodding along when I was watching the VT. There was so much to take from that, and even the mental strength and the kind of mindset that you need to be in to do Mount Kilimanjaro too is incredible. Yeah, she talked about that competitive spirit that she has and how she always knew that she was going to be able to achieve it, but you're going to be tested to the absolute max, I'm quite sure, and just being so focused and knowing that you're determined to achieve this no matter what she was going to experience on that journey. And the come down as well, that's something else that I remember about sport. When you have that, even for me in football, it's the campaign, and when you're, or a season long, and it gets to the end of it, and yes, you're exhausted, and we heard stories of that as well, but when it gets to the end of it, your mind has been so focused on this one target for so long, and then you're like, well, what is there now? What am I going to do with my time? And it was so nice that she had that group of her football family there waiting for her, just to welcome her back in and pick up those pieces and those things that she might have been missing, and just for them to bring her back in and say, you're back here, you're with our team, and we've still got lots of work to do at the club itself. It was such a lovely story, and we do wish Stacey all the best. It was just brilliant to see. But just as we come to the end of the programme this week, Julie, tell us, for Scotland, we were talking about the squad at the start, what do you think they kind of need to do moving forward? Do you think we're finally maybe seeing better results and they're in a better place, or do you think there's still quite a lot to do? I think there's probably quite a lot to do. For me, I think we have such a talented squad. What we are missing, we do create chances, we play nice football at times, but we are missing the fact that we don't have anyone who's continuously putting the ball in the net, and that's a big gap. I think there is this idea where we want to play football, we want to get the ball down, and we want to, but I think we also need to be able to adapt our game. And in moments against Ireland, I felt like we could have been more direct. We need to create opportunities, and I don't think we did enough of that, especially in a game which was so important. And yes, I'm all for being able to watch the game and it being enjoyable, and for us to play nice football. But we also want to have, we want to have that killer touch, and we want to win games as well. So, well, hopefully we will see that from the Scotland squad soon. But Julie, thank you so much for joining us this week. It was great to have you back. Thank you. Well, sin na haci goibhar son an nach, dean cín seach go bhfuil sibh lentin BBC Alba ag als gon cáil sibh program san bíide trí seascad. Cí sin sibh in áthúras.